Oakland, California, October 1995. When the stage lights went down, nobody could believe what they were seeing. In that moment, 50,000 people held their breath because none of them were prepared for what was about to unfold. Tupac Amaru Shakur, riding high with his Me Against the World album at #1 on Billboard, was about to turn what should have been just another concert at Oakland Coliseum into a historic turning point that would be remembered forever. The crowd was dancing to the rhythm of California Love when a racist slogan from the corner of the stands cut through the arena's energy like ice. But Tupac's response would change not only hip-hop history forever, but also America's perspective on race relations. To fully understand this story, you need to know what America was like in that era. 1995 was the tense months immediately following the O.J. Simpson trial. The country was racially divided in two. Black communities were seeking justice while white communities were living in fear for their safety. The Rodney King riots that had rocked Los Angeles were still fresh in everyone's memory. Hip-hop music was caught in the crossfire of this tension. While some saw it as the solution to social problems, others branded it as a spreader of hatred. Oakland was experiencing this tension in full force. In this city where the Black Panther Party was born, the heart of the civil rights struggle, Tupac's concert wasn't just a musical event, it was practically a political manifesto. Tupac wasn't just a rapper anymore. He had become the voice of the streets, the critic of the system, the leader of youth. Every word he spoke was analyzed. Every move he made was interpreted. The 50,000 people who came to the Oakland concert hadn't just come to listen to music, they had come to hear a leader's message. 3 hours before the concert began, Tupac called his mother backstage. "Mom, something sips different today," he told Afeni Shakur. "I feel like something big is going to happen." Afeni noticed the tension in her son Sep's voice. "Son, you Sep always wanted to be the voice of the people. Today might be one of those days." Tupac's intuition was never wrong. Since childhood, he could sense big events beforehand. Tonight there was a strange turmoil inside him. His bodyguards had noticed this state. "Boss, maybe we should cancel the concert," said Security Chief Big Frank. "Security reports aren't set good." But Tupac was determined. "Frank, I sippin' here to talk to my people. I have nothing to fear." Tupac never knew fear. He was someone with big ideals who wanted to create change. He wouldn't miss the opportunity to speak in front of 50,000 people in Oakland. Oakland Coliseum was hosting one of the biggest hip-hop events of 1995. Bay Area legends like Digital Underground, E40 and Too Short would also take the stage. But everyone was waiting for Tupac. When the doors opened, 50,000 people began flooding into the stadium. Among them were people of all ages and races. White suburban youth, African American families, Latino communities. They were living proof of hip-hop's unifying power. But not everyone was so innocent. In the upper corner of the right stands, a trio was drawing attention. Jake Stevens, 19 years old, Marcus Williams, 18, and Tommy Rodriguez, 20. All three came from different backgrounds, but they had something in common. They all had Confederate flags hidden in their pockets. Jake's father was a retired police chief. James Stevens had seen intense violence in his 30-year police career and had passed his prejudices on to his son. "Blacks are born criminals," he would always say. Jake had grown up with these ideas. Marcus Williams' family was a poor white family that had moved from Mississippi to Oakland. Growing up with economic hardships, Marcus resented seeing black communities in what he perceived as better condition than himself. Tommy Rodriguez had a mixed background. Being Latino white mixed race left him between two worlds. He was neither fully accepted nor completely excluded. This uncertainty had made him angry. All three had met on internet forums and agreed that rap culture was poisoning America. Their plan was simple. When Tupac took the stage, they would shout racist slogans, unfurl Confederate flags, and escalate the situation. Their goal was to make noise in the media and show that they represented the real America. They had no idea what would happen that night. At 8:30 p.m., The lights went down. 50,000 people jumped to their feet. Giant screens showed Tupac's photos while Hail Mary intro music began to play. When Tupac took the stage, the crowd's screams shook the building. Black leather jacket, bandana, that famous determined expression on his face. Oakland's prince had come home. The first song was Me Against the World. Tupac sang every word while interacting with the audience. It sits just me against the world, baby. Me against the world. I got nothing to lose. It sips just me against the world. The first 3 songs were flawless. During Dear Mama, the elderly African-American women at the front of the stage were crying. While giving social justice messages with Brenda's Got a Baby, young white kids were also singing every word by heart. As the concert progressed, Tupac had relaxed. He put down the microphone and started talking to the crowd. Oakland, this is my home. I love you because I see truth in you. Here color doesn't set matter. There sets only music. At that moment, the first sound came from the right stands. Jake Stevens, Marcus Williams, and Tommy Rodriguez sprang into action when California Love started playing. Tupac is a fake. They started shouting. At first it was like a small noise, but they continued to raise their voices. At the most enthusiastic part of California Love, Tupac began changing the lyrics of the song. California Love. All my people in the house tonight. Black, white, brown, we unite. That's when it happened. Jake Stevens pulled out the Confederate flag from his pocket and jumped to his feet. Marcus and Tommy took their positions beside him. Go back to Africa, in asterisk. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. The voice was so clear that even Tupac's microphone caught it. 50,000 people simultaneously fell into such silence that even the sound of instruments on stage could be heard. Tupac froze. The rhythm of California Love was still playing, but he was no longer singing. His eyes were scanning the stands, trying to find where the voice had come from. DJ Quick stopped the turntable. Sound technicians were looking at each other in panic. Security guards started running from backstage. The crowd's reaction split in two. Some wanted to march angrily toward those 3 young men. Others headed toward the exits in fear. Children who came with their families started crying. Security at the front of the stage approached Tupac, signaling him to turn off the microphone. Tupac, leave the stage, let us intervene, said Security Chief Tony Martinez. But Tupac's reaction was nothing like anyone expected. He didn't turn off the microphone. He didn't leave the stage. He didn't call security either. He just looked at those 3 young men and smiled. Stop the music, he said slowly. Everybody, stop the music. The music stopped. 50,000 people weren't even breathing. Tupac slowly walked across the stage toward the stand section where those 3 young men were. When Tupac reached the edge of the stage, spotlights illuminated those 3 young men. Jake Stevens, Marcus Williams, and Tommy Rodriguez suddenly found themselves the focal point of 50,000 pairs of eyes. Tupac approached the microphone. His voice was calm but determined. Let's get to know these 3 brothers of mine. Who are you? Murmurs began in the arena. Everyone expected a fight. Security guards had taken positions. Jake Stevens, under the influence of adrenaline, shouted, I set 'em, Jake Stevens. I represent the real America. Marcus Williams, added the second one. Rap music is poisoning this country. Tommy Rodriguez was more scared. He just kept holding his flag. Tupac smiled. Turning to the crowd, he spoke. Friends, tonight I'm going to prove something to you. The power of music, the power of love, and the power of being together. Then he turned to those 3 young men, Jake, Marcus, Tommy. Sid, I'm inviting you to the stage. The arena erupted. No Tupac. Voices rose. Everyone thought these young men coming on stage would end in a fight. But Tupac was determined. Security, escort them to the stage. But don't hurt them. They are our guests. Those 3 young men were in shock. This wasn't the reaction they had expected at all. They couldn't back down because of their pride. But they were also scared. Security guards gently escorted them to the stage. 50,000 people watched this strange scene while holding their breath. Jake Stevens was still holding his flag when he came on stage. Marcus Williams' hands were trembling. Tommy Rodriguez couldn't take his eyes off Tupac. When Tupac brought those three young men on stage, the atmosphere was electric. Everyone held their breath. "Friends," Tupac spoke into the microphone. "Tonight, I want to learn something together with you." Jake Stevens was still aggressive. "There's sips, nothing to learn. You and people like you are destroying this country." Tupac remained calm. "Jake, how old are you?" 19. "When I was 19, I was very angry too. Do you know why? Because nobody understood me." Tupac addressed the crowd in front of the stage. "So I'm going to bring a 10-year-old child to this stage. A black child. Jake, you sit, you're going to talk to him too." Tupac. Tupac. Voices rose from the arena. Everyone was wondering what would happen. In the front rows, waiting by the stage, was a 10-year-old child named Darnell Jackson. His mother, Linda Jackson, was a nurse raising her child alone. Darnell didn't have a father, but Tupac was like a father figure to him. Little Darnell had listened to the Me Against the World album over and over. He knew every word by heart. His mother would always tell him, "Son, Tupac isn't just a rapper, he sits a teacher. He sits teaching you about life." Tupac signaled to security guards and Darnell was brought on stage. The little child was scared, but also excited. Tupac took him beside him and brought him in front of Jake. "Jake," said Tupac, "this is Darnell. He is also an American child, just like you. Look at him and tell me what bothers you about this child." When Jake looked at little Darnell, he hesitated for the first time. The child's innocent face, big brown eyes, hopeful gaze. Darnell spoke in his small voice. "I just love music. Tupac is my hero. Did I do something bad? My mom always tells me that music brings people together." These words broke something in Jake's heart. For the first time, he was looking so closely at a black child, and what he saw was an innocent child, no different from his own little brother. That moment, something cracked inside Jake Stevens. Marcus Williams' eyes filled up. Tommy Rodriguez slowly lowered his Confederate flag. Tupac, taking little Darnell in his arms, continued, "Jake, Marcus, Tommy, you tell me this is wrong. But look at this child. He sits also a child with dreams, hopes, who loves his family, just like your brothers." Jake Stevens, while looking at little Darnell, had vulnerability in his voice for the first time. "I was also a scared child when I was little. They taught me to be prejudiced against those who were different." Tupac approached him. "Jake, what was your fear? I don't understand. What are you afraid of that makes you hate?" Jake Sepp's eyes began to fill. In front of 50,000 people, he was answering the hardest question of his life. "I was scared. I was scared that we wouldn't be understood. I thought I was different." Tupac smiled. He touched him. "Brother, you steer not different. You steer human too." Jake Stevens looked at the Confederate flag in his hand. Then he slowly put that flag on the ground. A thunderous applause erupted in the arena. Marcus Williams, crying, stepped on that flag. Tommy Rodriguez hugged little Darnell. Tupac hugged all three of those young men. "Today we to leave here as brothers. Because music teaches love, not hate." 50,000 people in the arena were applauding on their feet. It wasn't just those on stage who were crying. Families in the stands were also in tears. "Now," said Tupac, "we are all going to sing a song together. Jake, Marcus, and Tommy will also sing with us." Tupac began singing Changes, but this time he wasn't alone. Jake, Marcus, and Tommy, along with little Darnell, were accompanying him. "I see no changes. Wake up in the morning, and I ask myself, is life worth living? Should I blast myself? I was poor, tired of being as poor, and even worse, I's poor and black." Jake Stevens had never listened to these lyrics before, but now he was trying to understand every word. Marcus Williams' voice began trembling as he accompanied Tupac. Tommy Rodriguez was holding little Darnell's hand, trying to learn the song with the child. 50,000 people in the arena also joined this song. But this wasn't a normal concert atmosphere. This was the manifestation of unity, love, understanding. White families, black families, Latino families, Asian families, they were all singing the same song together. In the middle of the song, Tupac stopped the music. "Friends, this song is about change. Jake, what do you want to change?" Jake, crying, answered, "I want to change the hatred in my heart." "Marcus, I also want to stop judging people without knowing them." Tommy Rodriguez added in a small voice, "I want to stop the violence. This child taught me about brotherhood." There was silence in the arena. Then one applause, then another, then the whole stadium was applauding on their feet. Tupac took those three young men beside him and continued the song. But this time the lyrics had been changed. "I see the changes, wake up in the morning, and I tell myself, life is worth living, love is worth giving. I've seen tired of hate and tist, time for create and tist. We are the changes we want to see. Oakland, we are family." The entire arena began singing these new lyrics. 50,000 people were chanting in unison. At the end of the concert, Tupac's words became one of the turning points in race relations history, not only in the US but worldwide. "Oakland, a magic happened here tonight. Jake, Marcus, and Tommy showed me that change is possible. These three brothers are now my family. And you too. You are all my family. Your color, religion, background doesn't matter. Music unites our hearts." Tupac came next to Jake and hugged him. "This young man showed me courage today. Admitting your mistakes, struggling to change, this is real power." Jake Stevens spoke crying in front of 50,000 people. "Tupac, brother, gave me back my humanity. I will never forget." Marcus Williams took the microphone and added, "After tonight, I'm going to start listening to rap music, because I realize this music doesn't spread hate, it spreads love." Tommy Rodriguez turned to Little Darnell. "I want to be your brother. Can you teach me how to be a good person?" Everyone in the arena was crying. Tough-looking men, young children, elderly women, they were all witnesses to this transformation. When Tupac spoke his final words, there was deep satisfaction in his voice. "Today here we saw that love is stronger than hate, music is stronger than weapons, and unity is stronger than discrimination. Oakland, this night will live forever. Remember, change always starts within us." When the concert seemed to be over, Tupac had one more surprise. He invited those three young men backstage and talked with them for hours. Backstage, Tupac talked privately with those three young men and learned each of their stories. Jake Stevens' father was indeed racist, but Jake was struggling with the anger inside himself. Marcus Williams actually came from a poor family and saw black communities as his rivals. Tommy Rodriguez had grown up in the midst of violence and had turned his powerlessness into hatred. Tupac talked to each of them individually. "Jake, you sit, not angry. You sit, scared. You sit, afraid of being different. But difference means beauty. Marcus, you should fight poverty, not people. Our strength comes from unity. Tommy, violence doesn't make you look strong. Love does. I saw how you looked at this child. That's your real strength." Jake Stevens studied psychology after that night. "Tupac taught me how to overcome prejudice," he says. He later became a race relations expert. Marcus Williams became a hip-hop producer and founded a production company called Unity Records. He only works with artists who give messages of unity. Tommy Rodriguez became friends with Little Darnell. He supported him like the child's big brother. He later started working with disadvantaged children as a social service specialist. The most surprising development happened 6 months after the Oakland concert. Jake, Marcus, and Tommy formed a hip-hop group called Three Brotherhood. They only make peace and unity songs. Their first song was titled "Thank You, Tupac," and featured Little Darnell's vocals. This Oakland concert went down in history as one of the most effective performances Tupac gave while alive. Fans who videotaped the concert shared these moments, and it quickly spread across the world. MTV chose this event as the most effective concert moment of the 90s. VH1 put it at the top of its 10 moments when music changed society list. After Tupac's death, when his mother Afeni Shakur told this story, she said, "As my son told me that night, something big had happened. He had touched the hearts of 50,000 people. He had turned 3 enemies into 3 brothers." When Tupac was killed in 1996, Jake, Marcus, and Tommy were among those crying at the funeral. Jake Stevens bid farewell with these words, "Tupac, brother, you taught me what kind of person to be. I will never forget you." There's still a small plaque at Oakland Coliseum in memory of that night. October 15, 1995. Heat was transformed into love here, in memory of Tupac Amaru Shakur and 3 brothers. In 2005, a memorial event was organized for the 10th anniversary of the Oakland concert. Jake Stevens, Marcus Williams, and Tommy Rodriguez took the stage. Darnell Jackson, now an adult, was also with them. 4 people sang Changes together and repeated Tupac's words from that night. Change always starts within us. During the Black Lives Matter protests in 2020, Jake Stevens, now a civil rights lawyer, took his place in the front lines. Marcus Williams' music studio provides free support to activist rappers. Tommy Rodriguez established a peace center for youth in Oakland. They all say, "Tupac changed us. Now it's our turn to change others." What happened in Oakland that night wasn't just a concert. It was a moment when one of humanity's most beautiful qualities was displayed. Tupac Amaru Shakur didn't respond to violence with violence, hatred with hatred, but with the power of love. 50,000 people learned that night that the most powerful way to change a person is to open your heart to them. Jake Stevens' words 25 years later sum this up beautifully. "Tupac taught me that night. Hate is nothing but scared love, and love is always stronger." Tupac's legacy in Oakland: 3 enemies became 3 brothers. 50,000 people experienced unity. A new dimension was added to hip-hop. A different perspective was brought to race relations in America. As Tupac always said, "Change the game. Don't let the game change you." Oakland changed the rules of the game that night. It chose love over hate, unity over discrimination, music over violence. This story is proof that Tupac Amaru Shakur was not only a musician but also a visionary leader. The Oakland concert will be remembered as one of the greatest moments in hip-hop history. That night, they showed that music is the most powerful tool for change in the world, and a real artist is not just someone who sings, but someone who touches hearts. Oakland's spirit from that night still lives today. In 2023, Jake Stevens is now a 47-year-old civil rights lawyer. The photo of him with Tupac from that night hangs on the wall of his office. He starts work every day by looking at it. Marcus Williams has released several Grammy-nominated albums with Unity Records. All of them carry messages of peace and unity. Tommy Rodriguez continues to give hope to thousands of young people with the Peace Center he established in Oakland. And 28-year-old Darnell Jackson became a rap producer known as Little D. He honors Tupac in every album. There's still the small plaque at Oakland Coliseum that reminds of that night. Before every concert, performers read it, "Hate was transformed into love here. May the power of music live forever." Tupac Amaru Shakur, to be remembered forever, from October 15, 1995.